and an enormous power shovel, declaring, "Here I am, Mother." But not one answers. Finally, the power shovel drops him back into the nest, just as his mother returns and asks, "Do you know who I am?" The baby bird replies, "Yes, I know who you are. You are not a kitten. You are not a dog. You are not a cow. You are a bird, and you are my mother." This heartwarming story centers on the search for a parent, but it's also a quest for identity. Until the baby bird knows who his mother is, he does not know who he is. Had he realized he was a bird, he would not have asked the other animals if they were his mother. Without an accurate self-understanding, he looks for belonging among boats, airplanes, and power shovels. The hatchling is not just looking for his mother. He is looking for his identity. Like baby birds waddling from the nest, evangelical Christians sometimes don't know which species of Christian they are. They might identify broadly as Christians, but don't see themselves belonging to the evangelical category. Lacking awareness of who laid the egg from which they hatched, they don't realize that evangelicalism is their mother. Like the bird who hatched while his mama was away, they walk right past their evangelical parents and siblings, without recognizing them as family. When they hear the word evangelical used to describe something narrow-minded and negative, they think to themselves, "That's not me." Part of what makes Are You My Mother a compelling children's story is the comparisons between incongruent things. Dogs and cats are not birds. Boats and planes are not animals. As young children learn to distinguish between different kinds of objects, they are technically learning what is called taxonomic differentiation. Tables and chairs are both furniture, but different kinds. Bananas and mangoes are both fruits, but taxonomic differentiation helps kids understand that mangoes aren't the only kind of fruit. Evangelicalism could use more taxonomic differentiation these days. It is not the only place on Christianity's big map, yet those of us who consider ourselves evangelical may not realize that our way of following Jesus is just one form of Christianity, rather than the whole thing. While it's common for evangelicals in the United States to identify themselves simply as Christians, this has downsides. First, it confuses a larger category, Christian, with a smaller category, evangelical Protestant. Catholics, Protestants, and Eastern Orthodox believers are all Christians, but practice their faith differently. The majority of Christians in the world are not Protestants, much less evangelical Protestants. Furthermore, 3 in 5 evangelicals live in Asia or Africa, whereas less than 1 in 5 live in North America. Second, it fails to acknowledge evangelicalism's particularity as a space within Christianity. Evangelical norms like informal, extemporaneous prayer, "Good morning, Lord," are taken for granted as the Christian standard, and thus are simply deemed prayer, without an adjective, whereas non-evangelical styles of prayer are referred to with greater precision, like contemplative prayer or liturgical prayer. Third, it claims supremacy for itself at the expense of other expressions of Christianity, as if evangelicals have a monopoly on Jesus. If we take seriously the body of Christ's diversity worldwide, neither Christian nor Protestant are specific enough terms to identify our particular faith tradition. For evangelicals who see themselves as Christianity's default setting, developing a healthy self-awareness requires situating evangelicalism as a particular location on a bigger map. When we fail to acknowledge our own particularity, we're like baby birds who haven't looked in the mirror to see that we have feathers, wings, and beaks. We run the risk of assuming that all animals live in nests and lay eggs like we do. Unable to recognize our flock, we wander in search of belonging, hoping to find someone who will claim us as their own. Until we learn who our mother is, we can't know who we are.